It's been raining all day long. Let's see if we can, catch a break from that rain. I think we're going to be good for the games tonight. You might catch a stray shower, especially the later we go into the game. For the most part, though, I think it's just going to be cloudy. A little warmer, especially all things considered, especially when you think about the last couple of football Fridays. I think we're definitely going to start to see at least some drier conditions coming in as we head in towards the game. Now, it's not going to be the case tomorrow. Tomorrow, going to see a lot more rain showers coming in here. We'll look for rain totals anywhere between around a half of an inch. Some of us could see up to an inch of rain, especially, say, northern and eastern parts of our viewing area. George will talk more about that. So if you do have any outdoor plans for tomorrow, morning hours, we're going to give it a yellow light on the scale. That means you don't have to cancel your plans. It might not be a bad idea to have a backup plan. But the later we head on into Saturday, I think your backup plans may have to be enacted as even more rain is going to start to move in. Where does it go from there? Most of the models now in an agreement that by the time we get from 1 week from today, this storm either off the Virginia coast, off the North Carolina coast, or off the South Carolina coast. So what does this mean for our area? Well, if it goes on that track that we just showed you where most of the models are pointing, that would be best case scenario for us. We'll be on the western side of that storm, the sinking air side. Little to no impacts expected for us if it follows that track. Problem is, any little jog to the west would make our impacts just that much worse. If it goes a little bit up towards I-95, we'd get some impact. And of course, if it went too far to the west, we'd have some very high impacts in parts of our area. Now, here's another thing to also consider. This thing is not expected to give us anything in the way of impacts until sometime next week. In fact, almost a week from today. So this forecast is going to change numerous times between now and then. That's why you always got to keep checking back early and often for updates. Sylvania County. Now, actual air temperatures are back in the 30s. Hot Springs is back in the 20s, but the all-important road temperature number is in the mid-30s. So that's why that snow, despite the fact that it's been coming down, and in some places coming down at a pretty good clip, it really hasn't managed to accumulate at least on those main roads. Back roads are different story, but the main roads are usually okay. This is basically the radar saying, okay, what is precipitation? What is naturally falling from the sky? And what is potentially being lofted up? What is essentially not weather related? So in here, this could be trees, tree limbs, debris, something. But that's a pretty good signature that whatever is there, we might have something on the ground now. This one, Melissa, let's go over to that Halifax County storm because I want to keep a close eye on this one too. Again, Halifax County not under a warning right now, but I would go ahead and at least be thinking of what I'm going to do if they issue a tornado warning for this, especially if I'm in Cunningham. Milton, it should miss you, and maybe even as far up as South Boston. I'm at least keeping an eye on this because that is a mean-looking cell just to the north of Leesburg, just to the south of Cunningham. And I heard the ding, Melissa. What's that one for?
That is them canceling the tornado warning for Caswell there into North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and can we go back to that one real quick for that cell in Caswell County?
Me.
Wow, they canceled that? Okay, they have canceled that warning for Caswell County. I'm still in my safe place if I'm in Cunningham. That looks a little rough for me. I don't like to see something like that. So if I'm in Cunningham, I'm still taking my safe place. Again, no tornado warning for Halifax County officially. But at the very least, getting gusty winds when this thing blows through Cunningham and potentially as far north as South Boston. We'll continue to watch that.
We've got a tornado warning for Halifax County.
Okay,
this is new information there.
That is the one that we thought that they might issue one. I'm a little surprised they dropped it. But again, you should have already been in your safe place in Halifax County. Now is the time to officially get into your safe place in Halifax County because that cell we were telling you right there around Cunningham, they have gone ahead and issued a tornado warning for that. So this is actually a pretty big polygon. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and we'll put a track on that. If I'm in South Boston, I'm getting in my safe place. By the way, this goes until 4:45 for areas around Halifax. All right, so Turbeville at 421, Halifax Regional Hospital. That's around 434. I think that's right there in South Boston. 434 also for the town of South Boston, 437 for Halifax, that's just to the north, and 443 right now for Piney Grove, town of Chatham. Let's zoom in a little bit more, Melissa, and we'll start reading off some roads. So here's Highway 57. This is Tight Squeeze Road. Chatham High School, by the way, is right on this road right here. In fact, that might be pretty close to Chatham High School right now. Concord Church nearby. Marion Church nearby. This is going to miss you guys at the Pittsylvania Health Clinic and the Belgrove Church. It's going to come just to your west. But if you're in downtown Chatham, Need you in your safe place right now. We have a lot of alerts now are going off in the newsroom. That is not from a tornado.
No, that is a
That
flash
is because
flood
of a
warning.
flash flood warning. So I know a lot of people in Lynchburg just got freaked out because we heard a lot of sirens on your cell phones and on your apps and whatnot. So let's briefly go to the other machine. Let's go to ESP, and we'll show you that that was not a tornado warning, but a flash flood warning. So this is a flash flood warning now for Lynchburg City. This also includes Bedford County, Campbell County, and Amherst County. Again, in fact, Melissa, if you want, if you can, and I'm sorry, I know you're doing the me from earlier today when you're just burning a hole there in the ground. Let's go ahead and show the velocity here just so we can give not necessarily the all clear, but maybe some peace of mind here in for Lynchburg. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything too terribly rough.
No, sir. Probably just some damaging, some strong winds with this.
So in Lynchburg right now, you can expect to see those damaging winds potentially, and definitely a whole lot of rainfall. You might have ponding of water on the roads, standing water on some of the roads. Some of the roads may even be impassable. That's usually what happens when they start issuing flash flood warnings. So this flash flood warning goes until 10:45 for Lynchburg, Amherst, Bedford, and Campbell County.
Many of you thought the damage that you have from yesterday's storm was a tornado.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that, but our meteorologists and the National Weather Service say it was not, and they can prove it. ABC 13's Will Stafford is live tonight with Sky 13 to show us. Will?
Yeah, that's right, Mark and Danner. There was no doubt that this was a very powerful storm that came through the area last night. But as you can see here clearly on Sky 13, the area that we're watching is really all in a straight line. This is the work of a small area of straight line winds known as a downburst. Now, as you look live from Sky 13, you can notice how really all of the damage is blown out in the same direction. If this were a tornado, you'd have debris thrown out really and all over the place in many different directions. Straight line winds, however, downburst, microburst, things of that nature, all feature wind blowing out in a straight line, either from contact with the ground, as in the air really just blowing down from the cloud, hitting the ground, and then busting out from the ground, or just directly from the storm. Many people think that you can only get damage like this from a tornado, and that's just simply not true, as proven right now behind me. Now, microbursts, downbursts, straight line winds, they can do just as much damage. That's why when we tell you to take all warnings, whether they're severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings, you need to take those seriously. Some very gusty straight line winds coming off of this, and this cell has a history of producing some hail. In fact, we got a report of an inch in diameter hail right around, say, Cave Spring. It may have even been bigger than that, and that is pushing out here towards the east. So eventually, Alta Vista's day, Uncle Billy's day, watch out for this cell that's out towards your west. It should be around your area by 6. And all right, severe thunderstorm watch continues for everyone until 11 o'clock. We'll show you this video sent in from Javon Haskins and Tony Day, who are down in Alta Vista. This was when that storm rolled through. You can tell some very damaging winds there, strong enough to knock over porta potties. We also had some hail reported out of that. Very nasty storm in and around Alta Vista. That has since moved on east.
All right, our Will Stafford was visiting Nags Head in the Outer Banks, where people are now being ordered to evacuate ahead of the hurricane. He sent us some video, and you can see people are steadily leaving the beach for safety. Everyone who is not a permanent resident of Nags Head was instructed to leave by noon today. It's sunny there now, but Will says that's what normally happens before a storm of this caliber.
Usually right before a tropical system hits, you usually have a couple of nice days right before, and then in about 36, 48 hours, you won't even recognize this area because we'll have the wind, we'll have the rain, we'll have the storm surge coming in as well.
That same system is moving its way into our area, although the severe weather not going to be a problem for us. The rain, however, will be, and we're really going to usher in some changes starting as early as this evening. So everyone's dealing with rain right now, or most everyone, especially along and east of the Parkway. Heaviest rain we can find is down along the south side. A very wet go of things on 29 from Chatham over to Danville. This is moving on over into Halifax County, Volin, South Boston, Halifax, Cluster Springs. Another, say, 15, 20 minutes, and this rain will be right on top of you. Moderate to heavy rain, and just south of this frame over into Greensboro, Winston-Salem, they're actually dealing with thunderstorms this morning. Their temperature's just a little bit warmer. More rain, moderate to heavy rain extending from Campbell County, northern portions of Halifax County, right around Alta Vista, and potentially some freezing rain trying to mix in here around the Livingston vicinity and also back at the northern Buckingham County. But you see that pink there kind of getting compressed back into just green. So as our temperatures continue to rise this morning, we don't expect winter weather to be a problem. Now, temperatures are going to play a very important role in our forecast today. They are expected to rise and rise pretty rapidly. I'm not sure we'll get to 45 by 7 o'clock in the morning, but you get the idea. Temperatures are on the increase as we go throughout the morning. 58 by around 10 o'clock in the morning, while low 60s along the south side. By 10 o'clock, still seeing those showers dotting the landscape. The warmest time of the day today for us is going to be right around 12:30, 1, 2 o'clock. Low to mid 60s potentially east of the Parkway. We're already starting to see that colder air starting to funnel in for places like Roanoke and also back into Blacksburg. By 3 o'clock, this is when the kids are getting out of school. Temperatures are starting to tumble. 40s in the mountains, 50s central Virginia, and still holding into the 60s south side Virginia. By the time you're heading home from work this afternoon, we've got 30s in the mountains, 40s for central Virginia, and 50s back and through south side Virginia. We've got the gusty wind arrows indicating that the winds are going to start to pick up as well. And these are the temperatures at around 11 o'clock tonight. Now we're dealing with 20s and 30s. Wake up temperatures tomorrow morning back in the 20s and 30s, and they really don't get much better than that all the way through the afternoon tomorrow, all with a little bit of a breeze. Now, it's not going to be a long duration of a pretty important wind event, but we will have some gusty winds this afternoon and this evening as we start to change out that air mass. So look for gusts today, 20 to 30 miles an hour at best. That is going to play a role in our wind chill. These are feels like temperatures first thing tomorrow morning. This morning as you're stepping out the door, really doesn't feel that bad. Tomorrow morning when you walk out the door, it will feel like teens and 20s across a good chunk of the area. And even as we progress through the afternoon tomorrow, it still will feel no better than 20s and 30s all the way across the board tomorrow. And that same song and dance plays pretty true going into Thursday morning as well. So we're definitely going to deal with some cooler temperatures and some gusty winds today, along with some falling temperatures. So 50s in the mountains, 60s back in central and south side Virginia. Again, these temperatures will be reached around, say, 12:31, 2 o'clock. Then they start to tank from there. Lows tonight fall back into the mid to upper 20s. A few of us closing in on 30 degrees. Over the next couple of days, we're dry. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, tracking more and at least potential rain coming in for Saturday. That's also the first day of winter. Not too overly impressed with that system. We'll try and dry things out for the second half of your weekend.